Okay, but if you look at the input, the relationship between the input and the output, then there's a big problem here. Now, the Power Sector Reform Act, the law on which all these reforms are anchored, was signed, I think, in 2005. Between that time and now, a lot of things has happened. I remember this president in particular, when he was vice president, there was a panel, Suzwan panel, that actually warehoused money to complete all these NIP projects. That's over 2 years ago. Now, the turnaround time from ordering, when you order a turbine to finish, shouldn't be more than 24 months. Money was warehoused to complete this NIPP. We are talking of delivering those NIPPs. At every turn, somebody will come up with problems of gas. The other person will come up with the problem of this and that. Today, you know, it's amazing to me that when people celebrate 4,500 megawatts, because it assumes that we started from zero. No. Even at the worst case in this country, we had nothing. In fact, the total installed capacity was in excess of 3,000 megawatts. I can say that. So if you are talking about improvements now of 4,500, you are talking about a marginal improvement of about 50%. Yeah. Now, is that something we should celebrate? Somewhere, I think we have not really asked the question, what has happened over the years to this NIP project? They tell you, it will come on stream, first quarter. When first quarter comes, they will say it's the third quarter. Goalposts are being changed. Even go and study the so-called roadmaps. A lot of the milestones have not been met. Nigerians will talk here, government officials, they are so big, they are so high up there, they will talk about big things they are doing. But we don't get to see it. I'm interested in a roadmap that delivers power to my home. He's talking about 18,000, he's talking about people having 18 hours of light every day. To me, that's really nothing. What is important is to have a framework in which people can come in. Look, South Africa, they don't make noise when when there's investment in power sector. Every day, all of us are talking about investment. Government
is taken for granted.
It's simply taken for granted. This roadmap, if it's good enough, if it's marketable enough, by now we ought to be seeing private sector. Look at the so-called protection exercise. Why were not big-time players there? I didn't hear of big names, ABB, all these international power companies. I didn't see them there. What I saw were some, I don't know, look at companies. You begin to struggle. These ones, what do they do? So the so-called touted success of the power reform sector is not something you can really celebrate. All of us are watching. We are just
who were those bidding?
Should we ask Mr. Oson, you are in government, and you will know when we look at the people that have done the bidding, and some of them are being given, we'll see local companies, and they're owned by Nigerians, which is a good thing. But what the experts have said is, one, the track record and expertise, and they probably have technical partners abroad, but those people should have been the people bidding with Nigerians supporting, shouldn't they?
Well, I think the most important thing about all these processes is for the process itself to deliver. So if we are not, none of us are technical. I mean, none of us. I doubt if there's any of us who is deep in the area of the technical parts of this thing. So we'll not sit down here and begin to speak about it. But what we are saying is that this roadmap, that is being followed gradually, will deliver. Let me tell you one thing. If you have a snail that is crawling, you get the point, and it gets to the tape, you get the point. The most important thing is for him to breast the tape. You get the point. What we are saying is that this power roadmap will deliver. It will deliver, and we are not saying it will deliver in 20 years. We are not saying it is good that we have people from the opposition who criticize, so that the government can always be on its toes.
Not the opposition, the people.
Oh, the people.
Soya is not in any party.
Okay. We assume that Soya is not in any party.
And he wants power in his house.
Yes. We assume that Soya is not in any party. Let us assume that Soya is not in any party, but between me and Soya, we know. No. Let's leave that one. But what we are saying, sir, is that this I want to reassure you.
I'm
again.
sorry to break
sorry.
you. 1 second. We've got a caller on the line, so let's very quickly take that, and then we'll continue. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Tunde. Very quickly, make your points and.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay, let me just chip in a word on the power sector reform. I work as an investment banker, so I watch these deals very closely. Everybody has a point. One, the milestones have been missed greatly. We are well behind schedule on that. Two, we must commend the Jonathan government because this is the most aggressive reform agenda we have ever seen. If we are honest with ourselves, we will admit that. Number three, forget about all the 5,000, 3,000, 4,000 megawatt stories. It's good to see that kind of progress. But the real transformation will come from privatization and concessioning. Private capital, private management. You know, we private people, our eyes are choking. We don't have time for nonsense. We will put in capital and we will drive our assets to ensure that there is profit. And everybody benefits that way. Now, for me, the real fear is that the agenda is not being implemented aggressively, quickly enough. For example, I want to see Manitoba Hydro taking over, having full control over the transmission company. I don't want to hear stories about when they will be paid, when they are revoking their contract or not. I want action on that because that's where the real transformation will come from. So we need to drive President Jonathan and drive Mr. Wilson to ensure that that is what happens. Because that's where because think 10 years ago we had 500,000 telephone lines. Now we have over 100 million. It was private sector capital that did that. It's the same thing that will happen in the private sector. So that's where our attention should be. Leave the 5,000 megawatts. That's not what will change things. So thank you very much. Have a good day, you guys.
All right,
Okay.
thank you. So we might as well come back to you, Mr. Wilson. What's your response to what Tunde just said there?
No, I do agree with him that the private capital will lead, is what we need to solve this problem. And you know, government is going ahead with privatization of the power sector. There's no doubt about that. I agree with him. And you see, we have seen an example in the area of telecommunication, and nobody will disagree with that. I totally agree with him. And that is the way to go. The way to go.
Okay.
That's the way the government will go.
Let's stick with infrastructure for now. What about other infrastructure, Sonia?
Let me just mention the one that's where you had some bit of activism in the last couple of months. It's the railway sector. Okay. Today, if you look at the problem with our road system, it's simply because we have a dysfunctional railway system. Heavy haulage goods are being moved over long distances on the road, when ordinarily the railway ought to have relieved the roads of some of these carriages. Now, again, like the problem with the power sector, we had a modernization program under Obasanjo. Yadara came in and cancelled. Jonathan came, I'll put it, he's rather been ambivalent. The last we had was that those tracks have been realigned, and in fact, on the eve of the new year, we had that the Lagos-Kano rail has been. Yes. Now, you see, my worry is that we've dwelt for so long on these old Lugadian tracks in an age when China recently commissioned the fastest.
Yeah.
I ask myself, I don't have any problem if you could put the dysfunctional tracks, if you could put it to work, at least to take the pressure off our roads. But the question is, are these being done? There's so much secrecy. If you talk about any sector today where we've had so many contracts signed, it's probably the railways. Unfortunately, because it does not directly affect Nigerians the way power and other sectors do, we don't make too much noise about it. Every now and then you hear contracts. If it's not Baro, extension to Minna, it's Abuja, extending to Kaduna. Every now and then you hear new contracts. As a matter of fact, federal government has taken loans to finance some aspect of it. When are they going to deliver to Nigerians? I'm not looking at these contraptions. I'm talking about a functional railway system that integrates the part of the country, because it's actually critical to economic development. Today, We were talking earlier before the program started, we were talking about the situation in the economy today. Today we have an unemployment rate of 25%. Youth unemployment of 50%. In other words, for every single qualified Nigerian, qualified quote unquote now, Nigerian, one employed, the other is unemployed. Now that's a huge number. I did arithmetics.
Are you sure it's not more than that?
Oh, that's the official one. That's the one captured by statistics.
Okay.
Now, if you adopt that 25% statistics, that will give you a figure of 40 million Nigerians out of job. Now, what's the population of Ghana? 20 million. That tells you twice the size of Ghana in population are out of job. Now, that's unhealthy. And how do you do that? You must develop these infrastructures to create the opportunity to grow the economy. Now, power is coming on. Yes. Artisans, laymen, all those people, they want to at least tap into the opportunities, at least the stabilized power sector. But what about those ancillary infrastructure on the basis of which you can actually grow the economy? Because the president is talking about growing the economy. I'm not aware he set any targets. It's one thing to make, to project about growing, about wealth creation. How do you create wealth when even government is so shy from investing in infrastructure? Today, the other 2 days ago, they were celebrating excess crude account of $9 billion, reserve of 44 billion. It means nothing to me. A rich man who has money in the bank, but whose kids are starving, it's ridiculous. We must find a way to invest in the rail, the road, the air. Look at the investment in the.
Sorry, when you spoke about the fastest train in the world and all that,
yes.
I think those trains run on electricity, don't they?
Of course.
They do.
So I mean, unless we get our power right, we can't even dream those dreams.
Let's even start with a standard gauge.
Okay, let's take a call just coming in now. Good morning.
Good morning.
Rotimi, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to all the panelists. I just want to take on the FA on the issue of the budget. He said budget releases were not appropriate. Who formulated the budget? Is not the executive. Who does the releases? So those are the two questions I want to ask you. Who formulates the budget initially before being passed by the House? Then who does the releases? Because it's the executive. So why is it now linking the what do you call it, non-performance of the budget to release it? Let me educate us on that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Rotimi.
Well, I don't think I've talked about non-performance of the budget. What I was saying is when Mr. Ariyo mentioned about waste, and I did explain that this thing is a process, a statement of intention, and that it is not made. It does not mean that when a particular money is budgeted and that money is not released, you cannot. There's no room for waste in that regard, and that's what I said.
Well, while you're on that, there's a message on Twitter from Kojo Mensa who says, "Please tell SA to the president that the budget is law when signed and should be implemented to the letter."
Yes.
And when you then have a situation where, like Rotimi just said, the budget was prepared by the federal government, the executive arm of government, and it's supposed to be implemented by the executive arm of the government, but the release of the fund to some of those MDAs is not being done. Why will the government that knew that it's got the projection is not releasing the fund?
Let me tell you what, ask me a question. All over the world, there is nowhere that you implement budget 100%. Mention one country that say this budget.
But there's nowhere where budget is implemented 20%. There's nowhere.
Let me learn. What I want you to get about the issue of, I agree with him that the moment the operation bill is signed, it's law. But as you progress it, for instance, if there are reasons for you to either to you have prioritized this project, and by reason of unforeseen circumstances, issues now come up. For instance, like the issue of flood and all this thing. Critical attention must be placed on that area. If either to you are budgeted for that region that you are going to do this, it means that you have to now shift your attention now to the issue of
even when you talk about the issue of flood,
I have used that as an example.
Yes.
But I am not saying that, and I have never said that money are not released to government agencies. I didn't say that. I have not said that, at least here today.
Even with the flood, we don't know where the money has gone. So many billions of naira has been raised by the committee.
There are committees who are in charge of this, and their work is still ongoing. You know, when the committees are set up, anywhere, either in the private or public sector, at the point in time, the committee will come up maybe with an interim report, and thereafter, after the conclusion of their assignment, they come up with a full report. They come up with a full report. So it is so early in the day to say that we have not seen where the money has gone to. I mean, when there is a statement of affair, all these things will be publicized. It's not going to be released at the corner of one man's room. It will be released to the media, because this committee was inaugurated publicly.
I need to, because we must not lose focus. The man has a question about the budget. Now, what are those variables that will affect the operations of a budget? The inflow of revenue.
Yes.
And then, of course, other things that could happen in the course of the budget cycle. Nobody has told us that there's a problem, for instance, with the inflow of revenue. Every year, we keep pumping oil. As far as I'm concerned now, they told us we are doing 2.5 million
more than
barrels.
ever before.
Now, the prices of the crude, the projected benchmark has not fallen below the budget projected price. So what's the problem? What's the problem?